you think? Yao Ming saved China's basketball? Mark, you want to go first?
Look, I mean, who better than Yao Ming? He's tremendously respected, not just in China, but of course throughout the world. He knows the NBA and how the NBA is run intimately from his time over in the States with the Rockets, and of course he's owned the Shanghai Sharks team since 2009. So he knows intimately the CBA in the running. So he knows crucially what needs to be changed from the inside, and hopefully he can do it.
Know it and therefore be able to do it? A big question mark. Dongjun?
Well, Yao Ming has in recent years already demonstrated his passion. He's really outstanding in the efforts that he pushes forward. Outstanding, I mean, compared with other personalities.
Come on, gentlemen. You and I, we are all fans of Yao Ming. No question about that. But right now, we're talking about he's the president of the Chinese Basketball Association. Is he going to do the job?
Well, I think he is very ambitious, and he has carries a lot of expectations this time around from the top leadership. We have to explain about what this reform really means. I think the rest of the country, the majority of the public, is trying to catch up with the leadership this time around. It's the top leadership now pushing this entire sports world of China to move a little bit faster because it's already overdue and behind the schedule outlined by the top government. The government believes that it's really up to the public. The CBA should be running as a real non-governmental organization because sports belongs to the public, belongs to the mass, and you should learn to operate sports by yourself.
I see the enthusiasm of Dongjun right there. But the question is, Mark, let's just be pragmatic here. What we want is beautiful. But whether we will be able to achieve it, we have to look at the circumstances. Chinese Basketball Association, from the very beginning, has been a government or a gungo type of organization related to the government. And many of them working in it has been bureaucrats. Now it's been changing, but still, nobody can expect Yao Ming to have an overall shakeup of an association like this, which has been there for decades. Can he?
Look, as I said before, I think he has a better chance than anyone else simply because he knows what needs to be done because of his experience in the States. You don't have to look any further than football to see what's happened with the slow pace of reform there. It was March 2015 that we initially heard about reforms to the CFA and how it was going to become independent. Close to 2 years on, they're still sort of feeling their way and really figuring out exactly what that means for them because, as you said, bureaucrats have been working in the CFA all their careers. How can they suddenly now operate outside that system? So hopefully basketball can move a little bit faster than the footballers have done.
Well, just to be fair, I'm not saying all the bureaucrats working in the associations have problems. Actually, many of them working very hard. The question is whether the system is going to be the one that's going to fit everybody and move things forward. Dongjun, since Mark brought up soccer beautifully, let's talk about the soccer and the comparison between soccer and basketball. I mean, I try to watch games of Chinese soccer and basketball, and it really takes a lot of effort, shall I say that. The thing is whether
the game and to figure out
maybe both.
why they play differently from the
especially important is the qualities of it. Can we change it from a top-down approach, from the association to the so-called sports clubs and national team and structure like this? Or it has to take years from bottom up to increase the interest of people like me and also people really playing the sport, not just being spectators. Dongjun, you know better than I do.
Well, I have a strong belief that sports as well as culture will be really indeed the pillar industries in China and the rest of the world. And if you don't take it seriously, you will be falling behind. You really have to catch up because sports will be so important in the future of our life.
No question
Most
about
people have to practice
Okay, no question about that.
It will be your career and profession.
How can you get them out and do the sports and also make sure this is going to be a beautiful base for the sports to take off here in China and beyond?
Well, a lot of people professionally have been complaining, okay, the top government has refused to, let them free, set them free, but now the government is telling them, go ahead and I think football will be following the CBA very quickly to be independent of the state control.
We are already seeing signs of soccer for quite some time. For example, this time the so-called rumor of Rooney joining Chinese sports clubs because it is paying high fees, 32 million, as big as that. Of course, it didn't happen. It really illustrated even if you go commercial to a certain extent, it's not going to solve the problem.
No, it's not. I mean, as you said, is it a top-down approach or bottoms-up? It has to start grassroots, and you have to wait for 20 years for those.
Did you realize you are switching to my side, Mark? Oh, go ahead.
There's no sides, but no. I mean, you have to develop from the grassroots and wait for 20 years until those players are at an adult level, and only then can China realistically hope to become more competitive or significantly more competitive, I think, than it is today. Someone like Wayne Rooney, he captures the headlines around the world, but he doesn't do anything for Chinese football. I mean, perhaps if you're on the same team as him, you can pick up a few tricks here and there in training. But other than that, after the initial wave of interest from largely from other countries and for all the wrong reasons, then it just kind of dies on and carries on as usual. That money, instead of being spent on the Rooneys and the Tevez type players, should be invested in the infrastructure and in the grassroots game.
Beautifully put. Even Yao Ming, he said himself during many interviews, including my earlier, he talked about the so-called 体育 in Chinese word. It is being translated from physical education. We all had that class when we were small in the schools. It means both physical exercise and education put together. And he's advocating about this idea for a long time. Now he is really in the position of a bureaucrat. Changing seats possibly means changing minds as well. Mr. Dongjun, what do you think?
Well, you know, that's the expected role he has to play of his objectives as a CBA helpsman, and because the CBA is not really the management or the company of the professional league, far more than that. It also takes care of the grassroots level popularization of the sport. So he also, as well, the national team performance on the world stage, he has to worry about all those three layers.
We just want to be fair here. I mean, Yao Ming, from the tallest man we have in NBA, the really big guy, to now transform himself into a very important position for China's basketball future. It takes a lot of effort and also take guts as well. He could comfortably sleeping on all the achievements he's had, but this guy is looking for both challenges and really a way out, I guess. There has to be a mission in order to be sitting in that chair, Mark.
He used to be very moderate. I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Also quite humble in his first months or a couple of years with the Houston Rockets. But he learned to be tougher and hope that he can catch up with this job and to be more aggressive.
I mean, he has that passion, as you said. He has that quiet ambition. So, I'm hopeful. There's one other sport I just want to throw in there quickly, but tennis. You look at what happened there with Li Na and her generation when they were allowed to sort of operate sort of free from the bureaucrats initially, and how successful it was. You know, that's what these other sports have been trying to replicate.
Well, tennis is another story. We don't want to go there because there's another whole series of sports going on here. Before we go, Yao Ming is there. We all wanted basketball to be great, soccer as well. What can we do? Dongjun, start from you.
Well, absolutely. It's very easier said than done. We need more kids to play on the ground.
All right, Mark.
Oh, and that means the parents have to just ease up on that pressure, that academic focus. Let them be more widely educated, and that includes the sport. But get people playing at all levels, at all ages.
You touch on a very sensitive button. You realize that, Mark. But Mark and Jun, thank you so much for coming over to our program. All the best, I guess, to Yao Ming.